Schönes Tag haben, oder? Willkommen bei Ace Attorney Chronicles. The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, yes. Hopefully we'll have some good voices on today. First of all, let's get rid of this. And let's bring in this. There we go. Now we have the actual music. So the first one was interesting. Now for the second one. The Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band.
In a corner of that small, dark room, Sholmes and I waited with bated breath. In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air.
Yes.
I raised my dark lantern's shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The Speckled Band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which she referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
A speckled band. On board the steamship Beria. Or Beria. Cutscene.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me. The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle.
The bottle is upset.
A Russian word. So the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script.
Yes.
And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality. This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident, by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
Who are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait.
Shh. That won't be necessary.
That sounded more German than Russian.
In less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What? Don't be absurd. This is murder, and his cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Who are you, and where have you come from?
I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Sherlock Sholmes. I presume you must have heard of me.
I wonder where they got that name from. But I'm quite disappointed. They have not very strong Russian accent. Must make stronger. I must make strong. Da. Do not worry, Madrug. I make strong. Yes. Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. Someone's let one off, but I don't know who. Bing. Wait, I can't move. Needs more borscht. What the? Why am I in handcuffs?
Again.
Somebody's into bondage, it seems. So you wake up now, I've no idea if it's Russian or not. We shall find out. Ah yes, it's Russian. We had to drag you out of wardrobe. I do not believe how you could wake up. You're a true cold-blooded man. You found me then. Da, we found you, and now you pay, criminal. How long are you hiding in that tiny wardrobe, Sorry? Now you have been found. It is time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold ocean is, No, I'll tell you everything. There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. Isn't that? Oh. Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Miss Susato? Oh, Susato. Wait, what did you just say? Take his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma? Huh, you pretend you do not know. You are a wolf in the sheep's pelt. Please don't tell me he's dead. You are a killer. Do not try to make excuses. What? Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago. No! He was a nice person. Here, in this very cabin that was bolted shut from the inside. Really had him for one episode. It's Mia all over again. Yep. His body? Please, do not try to tell us you were doing this terrible thing in your sleep. Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. And these handcuffs, surely you don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please! No. No! Well, fuck! It was just 2 short weeks ago. Since I last played the game. Probably. Are you sure about this? Won't we get in trouble? Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study? It was really something else when they brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor. I thought I was gonna die. Yes, I still can't quite believe that's myself. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. You must be even less of a man than you look. Hey! Honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body. Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain. Oh, Jesus. 7 weeks. But if you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you. I hope not. I get the feeling these Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant Mikatova, you mean? From your close friend? Most of the points, surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. No, but if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. I suppose so. Anyway, it's about the time that the steward was supposed to come and clean the cabin. I know it's cramped, but you better get up in there, I think. It won't be for long. And anyway, compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it'll be a breeze. Yes, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in for it. Stop worrying. I'll tell you what, why don't you write keep out or something on this piece of paper? What? Then I can stick it over the wardrobe door once you're inside. I don't know. We've only been at sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England, together. We leave you at the next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murderer. No, I'm not a murderer! Duh, you said before. You said you admit everything about your crimes. No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on the ship, but murdering my best friend? No one else could have done it. Admit truth. Susato-sen? Please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there is something I would like to ask of you too. Those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try to find out what really happened. How's everybody doing, by the way? He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream. And these handcuffs, they think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer? When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via a porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these four walls. What? Or to put it another way, the culprit could only have been someone inside this cabin. Or do you have some other explanation? This is impossible. How did he die then? What exactly happened? Are you still going to deny the charge, even despite the circumstances? Please, Susato-san, you have to tell me. The cause of death is still undetermined. They don't know how he died. The ship's doctor is examining the body, but of course he has no post-mortem analysis experience. I don't suppose we shall learn more until an expert has been consulted at our next port of call. So presumably that means there were no obvious external signs of injury then. That's true, yes. Can't anyone tell me what actually happened in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably that's something you know the answer to better than anyone. Please. Whatever you say, you were here in the cabin after all. Well, yes, I was, but... He would always wake before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning. I was waiting outside his cabin as I have every day so far on this voyage. But this morning he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't. Does that mean he was already dead when Susato-san arrived at the cabin door, I wonder? I knocked, but there was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the cabin door open, and when we managed to get inside, there was Kazuma-sama, collapsed on the floor. Couldn't quite tell out what was written down there. I could recognise the symbols, but I didn't see them long enough. See if I can find a picture shortly and have a look at it. And the white tape there now shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea that anything had happened. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just very hard to believe. This is all very hard to believe for me too, trust me. Now I've told you everything I know. So it's my turn to ask you a question. Yes, alright. My head feels so heavy. Still throbbing like anything. Why are you even on board this ship, Naruhodo-san? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yeah, I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time. I had no idea. But how could you have occupied the Kazuma-sama's cabin for so long without him noticing? No, that would have been impossible, obviously. Yes, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. He actually asked you? But why? I'm afraid I don't really know the reason myself. I don't understand. Kazuma, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you? It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. I think I told you then, didn't I? That you ought to become a lawyer yourself? Well, yes, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious. You have a talent for it, I can assure you of that. But I've never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development, the centre of the world in many ways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there? Well, no, definitely not. But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then what? Nothing. Forget it. Kazuma-sama he was always saying the same thing, that he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought that he could do that that he could do that with you. Yes, maybe. But something's still bothering me a little. Look in his eyes then. It was darker than I've ever seen it before. Susato-san? I'm sorry we kept it a secret from you, my stowing away on the ship, I mean. If I know Kazuma-sama, I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association. That's exactly right, yes. Word perfect, in fact. If you're not the culprit, then tell me, what happened last night here in this cabin? Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat, just like he always did. And then I got myself into that wardrobe over there, just like I always did. After that, I fell asleep. Well, yes. So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed? Well, yes. I know it sounds unbelievable, really I do, but it's the truth. If only I'd woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. And for some reason my head's still throbbing like anything. Really? Was he clobbered? Is something wrong? Oh, no, it's... Please, forget it. Susato-san, you have to believe me, I didn't do it. I really don't want to doubt you. But the trouble is, there is no one else who could have possibly done this. Apart from the person who actually did it, yes. Kazuma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? Grr, I can't take this. Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen. Sorry, but Kazuma was killed right under my nose here. And I didn't do anything to stop it. And now I'm supposed to just sit around, my hands tied, while whoever did this walks free? No, I can't allow that to happen. Well, what do you propose to do then? I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Kazuma's life and how and why they did it. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. What the... That was a Susato takedown. Damn. I can't think how, so it's impossible, yes. Susato what? What martial art form is that? I'm going to need you to prove it. Sorry, prove it. Yes, your innocence. I need evidence. But how am I supposed to... Have you forgotten already? What you have achieved in just a few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in a court of law. Ah, I see. So he's expecting me to present some conclusive evidence. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll show some evidence right now that proves I'm not guilty of this awful crime.
Yes!
Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Oh, yes it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Kazuma always put it in place whenever I went to sleep in there. Yep. But I guess this is the change to the legal system that they need to do. Instead of innocent until proven guilty, it's guilty until proven innocent. Just in case the cabin steward and another crew member decided to look inside. So naturally, he did the same last night as well. Ah. Yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. But if I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this in on the outside of the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true. In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma. Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-sama thought so highly of you. Thank you, Susato-san. Now do you think perhaps you could help me up? Well, in the light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating in here at least. Thank you! Now I can so you finally believe me? I'm sorry, no. What? I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you use some sort of conjuring trick to put Stein back in position. What do you think I am, a magician? For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same. Alright, let's get to work, Susan. Please don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts. Oh. I shall be watching you to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I wouldn't want you using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example. Right. Well, anyway, I should make a start on investigating in here. Examine everything I can. Kazuma, I swear, I will avenge your death. By Grabthar's hammer, by the sons of Wavan, you shall be avenged. First things first, I see a knocked over thingamadooly. Books have fallen over on the shelf, look. They've all toppled the same way. And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea? Although it's fallen over as well. Yes, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked, and everything mown down at once. I wonder if perhaps it was Kazuma-sama doing his morning sword training. Do you think? I seriously doubt it. Then perhaps it was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage? I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to dress up a few books in a statue, thank you. Could the way this thing's been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? Well, I'll just have to set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess. Nope. Hasn't she just, like, done what she wanted him not to do and disturbed the crime scene? Jesus Christ. Oh dear, that won't do. Oh, what's the matter? Citizen? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused I forget to look around properly. Ah, yeah, that's not good. Exactly! She just said don't mess with the crime. What does she do? She tip the crime scene. I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you now, Horizon? No! I don't mess around with the crime scene when someone tells me not to mess around with the crime scene and then messes around with the crime scene. Yes, I know how to use that. I've just done it, so shut up. Yes, let's do that. I suppose my field of vision is rather small until now. Yes. Did Kazuma write that before he died? It looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked the ink out from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. Gardero? Or something similar? Translate please, Jen. Is it Gardero with this thing at the end, which I can't remember what it does? It's like a silencing bits or something? I don't know. And I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Why would he write it in Russian? He's Japanese. Poor Kazuma-sama. No doubt he was in terrible trouble. Gardero. Gardevoy. Presumably it's like God of War and means wardrobe. That makes sense. It's almost unbearable to imagine it. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of a clue in his final moments, was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. I don't think that's Japanese now, 100%. No shit! What? Then what language is it? It's Russian, you fools! Pains me to admit it, but I don't know. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? Why don't you ask that bloke over there? He's Russian.
Yeah, you don't like him.
This is where dear Kazuma-sama would have sat whenever he was writing. Garderoy. Okay. London Diary. Poor Kazuma, he didn't even make it to his destination. It's as though the last entry is incomplete. Which means, what? He was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened? Let's see what it says. Could be a valuable clue. Hi-ya! That's our other question. Oh, fucking hell. You just messed up the fucking books and the trophy, and now you won't let me read a book? Kazuma-sama may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts. It could be evidence, woman! It could be evidence, you fool! On the ocean boats, wouldn't it have Cyrillic writing around it? It would, yes. Alright, I won't read it. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either, but in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? Exactly! That there is Russian right there. These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Boria. It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. I think she did it. Nah, she wouldn't have. It'd be funny if she did, though. What? Why are you staring at me? Oh, sorry. I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? I can't decide. Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. When I went for help and crewman, I forced the door open. This bolt had been firmly closed. It's quite a small boat, not particularly sturdy. And it just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, when the door bolted, there'd be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. I want to believe she's obstructing the investigation for that and not because she's a moron. Nope, she's a moron. Just like the entirety of the prosecution's team is a moron for not taking in that person for destroying evidence and then saying, oh no, this person destroyed evidence, now we'll never know what happened. Oh well, I'll be going then. Yes, I'm afraid so. Which clears me out that I feel attention to prepare my span. I remember reading once in a detective novel, the culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from inside the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. But the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal, and they seal perfectly together. There would be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. Would you guys agree like that? I feel like pins and needles up and down my spine. Yes. That's Kazuma-sama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Yes, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on this trip. I suppose that shows just how important it was to him. And now he's gone. But I'm not ready to let his spirits go just yet. I've investigated thoroughly, but I can't find anything out of place. Hello? Ink bottle! It's a very large travelling case, isn't it? Yes. It carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stow away on this vessel. I was brought aboard inside that case. Ah yes, I see it says this way up in Japanese. Which in hindsight I should have realised the foreign crewman wouldn't be able to read. I was turned over and over and over, and then I was tossed on the floor in here. Oh dear, being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it was less painful than Suzato takedown.
Ink bottle is covered by warranty, by the way.
Ah.
You've already done that.
A bell? What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing was, it appears to be a broken clean in two. The glass is such a beautiful colour. It looks like a cute little Netsuke fastener from a kimono outfit. I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket around like this with him, would he? And the mark beside it. What is it, I wonder? It has a sort of brick-like hue. Yeah, I suppose you're right. It's like the colour of brick, isn't it? Even though I don't see anything of the same colour or anything anywhere else in this cabin. Seigi, Japanese word for justice. The brush strokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Yes, his calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. It's boop. Yeah. Yet you, can you really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can! I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on this ship? Now you're going to bring that up, are you? Just can't win. That's my dinner from last night. A roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But did you eat it on the floor from here? I'm not a dog, Suzato-san. I ate at the table, of course. Which begs the question of, when and how did the plate end up on the floor? But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right, so he didn't touch it. Which means all the more for me. Oh no, does that mean poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on this earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Now I suddenly have a guilty conscience that an achy stomach. It's some 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe the entire time, Naruhodo-san? I think living isn't quite the right description. Oh, no, I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting, making this voyage in your own secret hideout. The trouble was, I never knew when a member of crew might come in. So yes, I did basically have to live in the wardrobe. And last night was no exception. But because of that, you had no idea what was happening out here in the cabin. No, sadly not. This is... yes, it's a bell cord contraption, I think. What do you mean, contraption? It has a grating bell pulled by the bed from the speckled bend. I read about it in a book I was studying that talked about life in Great Britain. Large households often had bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon servants. Really? That sounds almost magical. Broken bell? Shall we give it a little try? No. Yes, in the interest of cultural research, obviously. It's a crime saying you fools! Fingerprints! Oh my god.
1800s. They don't have fingerprints.
People dumb. I suppose nobody comes for lovely Japan people. No, I'm sure it's just that everyone is busy, that's all.
Or it's a crime scene.
I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin. Or a criminal. Maybe.
That's small.
Have I read this story? I don't think I have, no.
I have.
She has.
I have.
She knows a little more about it than I do, most likely. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin. There you go! Yes, it would appear to, you're right. But if its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room, surely it should be connected to the outside. That's true. You know the deal and I don't here, so as I'm playing this and I have no idea what's going on, you'll watch it and be like, aha, 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 references everywhere.
Yep.
Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough or something like that. I suppose. Maybe that's it. Hi! Who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago. As far as I can tell, he looks like he might be European. Oh, how did he... You've noticed the man too, have you? I have no idea who he is or how he got in here, but he looks suspicious. And tall. Suspiciously tall. Naruhodo-san, don't tell me... Do you really not know who that is? Well, no. I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. Is he investigating Kazuma's desk, or is he just playing on it? I can't tell. Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him. Am I just imagining it, or does Suzato-san look almost uncontrollably excited? By the way, I expect that you've noticed already, but just in case. If you press space on people when they're in the crosshairs, you can converse with them. Alright, well, I guess that's a suspiciously tall gentleman in my sight. Let's see what it has to say for himself. Oh, please do. Yes. Excuse me. Excuse me, do you have a moment? Shh! This is a critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. Greetings! I hope I haven't kept you long. Ah! What exactly were you doing on Kazuma's desk just now? Ah, I see. Fascinating. Sorry? What do you see? Feels like he's looking right through me. Oh, yes. Everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. You are very much mistaken. Sorry, what? And now, whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. He must have fake legs if he's so suspiciously tall. Oh, well, that's true at least. But how... How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things. There is no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being, as you are, a merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake, and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. Rahatia will not be happy. And, when the beribboned occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you are talking about me, are you? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name? I don't even see one person who fits the bill. Oops. Wrong button, sorry. So it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama. What? And you're plotting a revolution too. It's shameful behavior, Naruhodo-san. Absolutely wicked. I think we shall go back to our quote of this person is a moron. No, listen, there's no way. Hey, yeah. Now explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. His wrongness broke the universe for a second there. How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously. Oh, forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head. Ah, but was I not right? Whilst venturing forward to foreign crimes, you do find yourself in a most troubling predicament, do you not? Well, yes, maybe. Ha! There you have it, you see. What do you make of that, hmm? Well, to be honest, this ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So, I'm not really sure you could call it deduction. It's more plain observation. Indeed. An observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles. You see, I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. And more often than not, I'm right. Ha! I don't think you can introduce yourself. Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to known to men and women the world over. The inimitable Sherlock Holmes. Bad for German? So it's really you, the actual Sherlock Holmes? Sherlock Holmes. Here we go. The very same. The inimitable actual Sherlock Holmes. Do you know this man, Sarazato-san? The most famous detective in the world? Naruhodo-san, of course I do. There's no one who hasn't heard of him. But he's not the best detective. The best detective is Hercule Poirot. What planet have I been living on then? We must ask him what he's deduced. He will have worked out the case entirely already, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed. I am none other than the one and only Herlock Sholmes. Oh, I see. You're German? Herlock, was it? No, I have no hair. I mean, I have hair. Please call me Sholmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Herlock. Oh yes, Rand's magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have sent it from England especially. Have it sent. Ah yes, here it is. The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes. I'm gonna say Herlock from now on. Instead of Herlock, it's Herlock. He is now Herlock. Guten Tag, mein Herr. So you're the protagonist in a series of short stories, then? Indeed I am. And you've read so many of your own stories, you've started to think you really are a detective? Make no mistake, I'm not the poor deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backward. Backward? My trusty biographer records my greatest detective achievements and chronicles them in a magazine. It's gotta be done. In fact, hang on. My trusty biographer records my greatest detective achievements and chronicles them in the magazine. Maybe something a little bit less inky for the future. A straw or something? You have a straw somewhere?
Just your band, you know?
That'll do. Gotta get the immersion right, you know? You have a biographer, do you? The real publication was called The Strand. I see. So it's just basically a anagram.
Like Herlock.
That's more of a spoonerism. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London.
Is he? What's he did?
Not enjoying myself. Dr. Wilson? I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. Why, this very moment I am returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of the cursed royal crown. A cursed. Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. Deduction, you see, is to me a science, logical reasoning in its purest form. A science? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in his subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin, all these things are data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. That wasn't the truth, you numpty. How can he look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have returned both for observation and for deduction, and fame. That is what makes me the one and only Herlock Sholmes. Kazuma's death. Yes. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything? My dear fellow! Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right! It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes. Ah, I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. When I became anxious about Kazuma-sama this morning, I summoned all the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself among their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective Sherlock Sholmes was on board. And the handcuffs seem to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. Ah! The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, 2 facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh really? 2 facts, you say? One is that a person was dead. The second was that they left a message? Question mark. Mr. Sholmes, tell us please, what 2 facts were apparent to you when you came into this cabin this morning? Ah, yes. But first, let us be precise. The 2 facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand, but what were they? Allow me to elucidate. The 2 facts that I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number 1. The cabin was locked from within, rendering escape for the culprit out of the question. Number 2. The victim was Russian, and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. Hold on, Mr. Sholmes, what made you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. There you go. Gardevoy. That's the Russian word for wardrobe. Do you really think Kazuma-sama could have left a dying message in Russian? In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian. Kazuma was Russian? Was he? Initially, I considered Garderob, maybe the name of the killer. A certain Robert Gard, perhaps. Is that a reference? Oh, it's a B. The smear was misleading. Apparently so. But in the interests of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there at least. Where you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly? Quite so. I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too? I observed that you were wearing the same attire as your victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people. Our school uniforms are the traditional dress of Russian people? I had no idea. This is where that thing comes in play, yeah. One moment, please. This is necessary for this moment. You're welcome. I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. Oh, that was Grinsky. Autoplay, thank you. Stab them both. They already think you're a murderer anyway. I took a photograph of the victim and the message, that I might analyze it later for possible hidden details. Ah, yes, it is a B, isn't it? I thought that line at the end was part of that Russian thing where you have what looks like a B, but without the tail at the top and then the line at the end. I forget what that is. But apparently, yes, it is garderobe, which apparently is wardrobe. This was taken immediately after... Oh. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Yes, Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Sad. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? No, I'm not alright. My best friend's been murdered and I've been pinned to the freaking culprit and I'm dealing with a couple of morons. How do you think I feel? Oh, yes, thank you. The photograph of the crime scene has been entered into the court record. Yes. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes? What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all that? Ah, yes, the train of reasoning has led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think? Koneno? Is it? Is that Koneno? Translate, please, Jen. Certainly, if it interests you. Yes. Koneno, mój drug. Certainly, if it interests you. Konieczno. Of course. Yes. How many times? I'm not Russian and I don't speak Russian. Well, to be honest, buddy, you haven't outright said it. So, just say, I'm not Russian, I'm Japanese, you moron. Nope. Maybe he's a moron too. Everybody's a moron! Yep. Can we talk about your deduction before? The things you concluded about me, I mean? Ah. They're now frameless to the acute, troubling predicament you find yourself in. Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part. Ah yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have the morning's paper. The main headline reads: Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. Yeah, because that's yeah. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered. Oh damn, you can't see a picture of him. Never mind. Oh, that's okay. Needless to say, it's not him. Since when was Kazuma a Russian? It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was revealed. Yes, you, villain Bolshevik. Seriously? No, how can it be me? I don't look anything like this man, just look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well. Please. And, I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. Presumably you're speaking English right now, so I guess that makes you English too. Lol. Apparently we're speaking Japanese, though. That's not what they said in the previous trial.
They were speaking Japanese in the previous trial.
Exactly.
But you're speaking English now.
I was always speaking English. The dialogue was always in English, but they referred to it as Japanese. Even though they had something that was written in English, but they said it was Japanese.
Yeah, but you're technically speaking English now all the time.
Eh. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower. Right here! They're coming to blow up the Crystal Tower! Start the new raid! Ah, yes. The journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all these particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far, and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder? And what about the part where you said it was just returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Bolshevik has recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is it, anyway? This Afghanistan place? Yeah, they wouldn't know about it. Here, take the paper for yourself, as a little memento of this great deduction. Oh, thank you? I've absorbed all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby. So you are now the honorary bin. The article about the revolutionary has been entered into the court record. And you may find the article on the back page of interest as well. On the back, cast your eye over it sometime. It might, if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. I hope to read it. Wait, he's just said himself, you might need someone to interpret it. If he's a Russian revolutionary, he wouldn't need that. Because if he's Russian, he can read Russian. Right? I guess deduction means the same as random assumption now. Yes. It's one of those, like, non-thinking train of thought. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt to glance at the article. Maybe there's one picture or two. I think the word of the day here is moron. Let me find out. I need to work out what that word is. Otherwise, I'm just going to stick with Dummkopf. Dummkopf. Moron in German. Trottel.
Trottel.
Trottel. Ist ein Trottel. Sounds like turtle. Dieser Mann ist ein Trottel. I really want him to get punched in the face. Yes. Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you? Kazuma? Ah, yes, the victim. Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe, for a moment, the desktop of the victim. Susato, do the thing. Flip him over. We're not allowed to look into his private thoughts, remember? We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. Ah, but I don't think you should read its private writings. It could upset people. Tragic. And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. Susato-san, aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely the diary belonging to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray be precise as to details. How would he know he's Russian? Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, bonsai, mikado, nado. I trust you're suitably impressed. Ha! No. But this diary is littered with complicated-looking characters, of which I can read precisely none. So what was all this about showing off before then? If you would be so kind to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes. What happened to not reading his... fucking hell. I'm much obliged, my dear madam. That's just going to be the entirety of this playthrough, is me just picking apart all the freaking nitty-gritty moronic details, like, and hypocritical stuff as well. There is many? Ho, this is going to be good. The final entry here in Cousin Summer's diary consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. Vent. A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Pray go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from a ventilator grill. Dun dun dun. A speckled band? What on earth does that mean?
We know. You don't.
Nope. I have no idea. I've never heard that expression before. The ventilator griller, you say? It's written in German. I've got to say in German. Griller, you say. Holzkohlenschwindgriller. Yeah. The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. Casimir's diary has been entered into the court record. Schwenkgriller. Although I'm not sure what the plural of grill is. Let me find that quickly.
Is that the thing that we went to at the Christmas market?
Mm-hmm. That was a Holzkohlenschwenkel, yeah.
The big one or the little one?
The second one that we went to, the small one.
The one that actually had the German people in it?
Mm-hmm. Really? Apparently the grills in German is die Grills, not Griller. Let me check Deep L, just for the heck of it. Alternative, die Griller. Yep, I'll take it, Die Griller is talking about the grills. So I shall use the German word. So I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being at least. Yes, the fact that you are a moron. A loan word then? Yeah, pretty much. Yep. Do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victims writing in this diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe, and if I am still too long, the seasickness takes hold. Oh, I suppose. You're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to? Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So yes, I intend to investigate. Hence the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? No, that would be somewhat complicated. What? But why? A simple glance at your wrists should reveal the answer. Oh, these. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter. No? There's no point trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point. We have Fayhard Gaming with the rate of 4 people. Hello everybody, welcome. Welcome, hello. For those of you who don't know me, yes. You all don't know me. You probably don't know me either. I am Renzo Lightning. As you can see, I'm currently doing some Ace Attorney investigations. And so far, all we've concluded is that everybody's a moron. Not even joking, everybody's a moron. Faye, how are you doing? It's good to see you. Good to see you. How you doing? How was your stream? What did you get up to? And how's everybody else doing? Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. You just called me the... Ugh. Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say it too. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. Treasure maps. Ooh. Did you get any portals? Did you get to the end? Did you get all the monies? Did you get all the monies? I wouldn't have said... Hang on. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know. Not really. So what? Were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway, that was then, and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Once to the end? Nice. Nicey. How much money do you get from there now? Is it still 100k or is it like 200k now? Has it been upped? Not sure. Now he's just being plain rude. Yes, this is the second case of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. If you haven't played the Ace Attorney series, I strongly recommend it. It's one of the best gaming series out there. But for now, 100k, nice. But for now, I must sleep. Have a good stream. Thank you very much. I hope you have a good sleep. Momo Meow is now following. Thank you very much for the follow. Welcome. Welcome to the storm. Hope you are having a lovely evening. What time are we on? Oh, it's 11:15. Nice. And off he goes. Having just laughed in my face, his sense of humour is as twisted as his name. Yes. Momo Meow. Welcome. How are you? Thank you for the follow. Very much appreciated. Naruhodo-san, what are you just standing there for? Well, I'm kind of chained up here. We must go and investigate the cabin next door as well. I'm in chains! Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I can... After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? There will be many face palms required after this. I can't really rotate it anymore.
Get rid of the rest of your head then.
Yep. I'll have to cut off the top of my head unless I can tilt this up a bit. Can that tilt up at all? Maybe... That'll do. There we go. Nice. You're just going to roll over and accept your fate? Well, kind of. As if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. If I get a stream deck, that's going to be one of the noises that I have to use. The old face palm. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Good idea. The situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. And I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this. I bring the real cover to just... Okay, so he basically just said, I can't go anywhere, I'm still chained up, and she freaking throws him over and says, you're not gonna give up that easily, are you? I'm kinda stuck here, buddy. Is that... something wrong now, Hodo-san? Oh, no, it's just the crewman standing by the door. I kinda have a feeling like I've seen him somewhere before.
Funny that.
It's the butler, he's not a butler. He's actually a waiter.
Apparently he's not either anymore.
It's the Ignis dude. Excuse me, sir? Yes. What can I do for you? I recognize that face, but it can't be.
Inclusive.
It is! I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hasanaga. He doesn't have a towel now, though. Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped. Nearly stopped, I hope. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew on board this ship. You forgot your towel, mate. No interstellar hitchhiking for you. Yep, pretty much. Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. Well, that's the job description. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. I never expected to see this man on board. But perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. Hey, you okay, buddy? There, you got yeah. Okay. So what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Inspector? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? Okay, is it bad that every time I have to say Inspector, I always go for the French version, like Inspector. Inspector Mou. 10 points for anybody who's played Broken Sword. If you haven't, go and play. That's amazing.
That's not fair. I can endure things.
True that. Still dying of consumption, I see. Yes. I'm so sorry. Hmm? This is all my fault. I will take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard. Well, you fucked that up, didn't you? It was Minister of Justice Jigoku, who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated.
That was a possibility.
You mean they knew that he was going to be assassinated, or that people were going to attempt to assassinate him? Assassinated? How can that even be a possibility? I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said that we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated? Obviously we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. Jigoku means hell. Damn. And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night, every day. Well, that's a lie right there. But I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin, not here on the first-class deck. So if he was there all the time, and he saw him all the time, did he see him when he get murdered?
You never left him alone. How did you not know who was there?
Exactly. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. Inspector. So if there's anything at all that I can do to help for now, just say the word. Rich people never do crimes. Nope, not at all. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma-sama's death for ourselves. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer. Of course not! We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, we need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to ship's safety. If you're moved to even touch the handle of the cabin door. That stormy-looking seaman would surely snap your neck in two. I suppose. I'm just a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive. What do you mean? If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how... There may be a way. What? Really? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruhodo-san. By presenting me with a piece of evidence that you already had in your possession. Evidence? It's just the same as when you were in court. You must have done it several times during your trial. Simply select the present panel and choose some evidence that Inspector Hosonaga could use. So, evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright, yes, I think I might know what we can use. Let's see if I can present the detective with the evidence he needs to persuade the captain. maybe this. What's that? It's Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote, what looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grille. A speckled band? That is strange. Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that. But what I'd like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it? You're very astute, Inspector. That ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin. That's right, so if we could investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I will lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asogi-san safe. This is the least I could do. Thank you. Let's seize the moment then, Naruhodo-san. Move. Alright, let's see where we can find it. I want to check out this Russian guy first. Before we disappear. Excuse me. What? I was wondering if I could ask you a favor. Would you mind if I investigated a little outside? Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it's not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asking prison guard to help him escape. Very funny. We're in the middle of the sea, there's no chance of me escaping. Niet. You'll stay in this cabin until next port. Then it is up to Hong Kong police to decide what they do with you. You stay. Alright. There's no point in trying to repeal this man's better nature, that's for sure. Well, it sucks to be you, buddy, because I'm out of here. Whew, I'm finally out of that cabin. Is that a mousetrap? I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be. This is the most luxurious accommodation. Yes, indeed. Kazuma-sama was being sent on this study tour by the government. That's why he was being put in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage. Really? That must be awful. Oh look, over there. There's another crewman keeping watch. And he looks enormous. Even if he is sitting down. The door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose. Like people in handcuffs? Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to a ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already. Well, yes, I know. But the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard. And ever since then, I've been shut up inside the little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Please, don't give me that pitying look. Excuse me, but could I ask you something? You little stowaway murderer! That wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you? You little third-class lady's maid! Oh. We seem to have caught the sun on a bad day, Suzaru-san. I am not sailor. My mother gave me name. I am senior crewman. Beef Stroganoff. Beef Stroganoff. Yes. You are Beef Stroganoff, good sir. Oh dear. That's funnier than it should be. Well, the best thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think. Beef Stroganoff. Yes. Mr. Stroganoff, about this first-class cabin area. Here we are in finest part of Boreas steamship. For very important persons. What sorts of very important persons? Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret, many important persons. That is why I am always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in the ocean, but Stroganoff is not the animal. Thank you. If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asagi's currently occupied? Da! Susato-san? Did you understand that? It sounded like da. I think it's probably Russian for yes or no. Genius. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Okay. Well, it sounds like there's somebody in the next door cabin at least. Yes, it's tantalizing. Yes. Hello, cat. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asagi's? His name is Mr. Grimsby Roylott. He is very important Western gentleman. Grimsby? Grimsby? Grimsby, probably? Roylott? Reference, Jen? A Western gentleman. Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with mother student boy. Now, why don't I believe that for a second? How can you be so sure about that? Mr. Roylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such men would have no interest in lowly student from insignificant Far East islands. Racist. That was harsh. Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard? That is not your business. Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time, I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone in there. Well, presumably since this gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins, he must be rather important. Is that right? That is not your business. Legit character from the Speckled Band. There you go. Makes you hungry. Are you on watch here all the time, Simon Stroganoff? Da, all time. So criminals like you cannot come in, or get out. I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all? It is said about student boy. I thought I was going to say it's not your business again. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? Niet! I'm guessing that's niet. Susato-san, did you understand that? It was clearly a no. I saw nothing unusual. Nothing at all. And you didn't hear any strange noises or sense anything was wrong in some way? I said no! No, you said niet. Get it right. Sorry. I'm not so sure. It's just that niet is 4 letters and they only use 3 characters, so I'm guessing H is like NY, is it? Yeah. I could have sworn he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. Yeah, he's hiding something. He's hiding something. This is enough. I cannot say more now. Oh. It is time for me to report to Captain. Or Captain. You must return to cabin. Yes, alright. Bulkhead to second class area is staying locked at all times. You escape when lobster whistles on head of mountain. Or as English say, when pigs fly. The regular looking E is pronounced as a yeah. Okay, I'm with you. Meow. Meow. Is this now the new cat's, I think maybe. Meow. Yep, I'm gonna have to make this the cat stool. Yes, I understand. Good, now we can investigate this area properly, shall we? Definitely. Alright, let's do a bit more investigation. Hello, cat. You gonna say hi to the viewers? Meow? Or are you just gonna stroke your head on the microphone? Meow? Book on top of the table there is really huge. There's a pen with it too. Yes, I'm sure that's the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? You are loved, kitty. Sister loves you. Have to come over sometime, Jen, and come and see her.
Let her sleep on your face.
Let her sleep on your face, yes. The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting.
What?
Seem to have lost my straw. Where is straw?
I heard it fall.
Yeah. This one. It's because it's clear. There we go. Anyway, look here. Last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. Yeah.
Well, if that was the case, it would say nothing to report.
Yes. This looks like a plan of the SS Burya. It shows each deck look. The Burya is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering. Wow, they put 3 layers on. GG. Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is it such a large lump of metal doesn't sink to the bottom of the ocean? It's called buoyancy. Well, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san. It is. Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan. Yes, they're not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth, many, many times larger than this ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them. Well,
That's how it works.
I suppose so. It's because the entire of the hull is filled with air, and air is less dense than water, so it doesn't sink. Air always rises to the top. Meh. Meh.
Yeah, that's clearly the easiest way to get out.
That's the way to the second class area of the ship.
We cannot go.
Is something wrong? I was thinking about making a run for it, just for a moment. Things aren't exactly going well for me. I might be wrong, but I imagine the moment you reach for the handle of the door, that burly seaman would shoot you dead. Thank you. Oh dear, I'm sorry. Perhaps I went a little too far there. Perhaps! No, I started it with my talk of running away, and there's no way I could run away while Kazuma's death remains a mystery anyway. A bell. What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it? That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm? It says, press only in times of emergency. It looks as though it's set alarm bells ringing all over the ship, and brings the vessel to a complete stop. Oh. This I have to see. What are you doing now, Artisan? You mustn't touch it. But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation. I wish everything would just stop. The ship included. If you have something to do, if you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect everyone else. What is this? Ah, a trap for catching mice. Called it. Yes, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. It's cheese. Let me see. Yes, I think it's what is called cheese. It's made from the milk of cows. Cheese. Cheese, grommet. I wonder what that tastes like. You can't easily narrow how to sound the trap will snap shut on your fingers. Really? But, I suppose you're right. You were actually going to try it, were you? All I've had to eat for the past couple of weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. Eat the cheese! Eat the cheese! You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later.
The cheese is probably poison.
It probably is, yes. That door! This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help us solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries. How annoying. What was that? It came from inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. Stand aside. Oh. I'm about to break down the door. Mr. Sholmes. I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges. Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. It doesn't? Then how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What, pray, can I kick? I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. Who are you? A Western gentleman. This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream. A woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there's nobody but me in this cabin. True, the old man does appear to be the only person in here. Kick herself in the head, maybe. Yep, pretty much. But in that case, just who screamed? Get out, all of you, now! Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimsley Roylott, I believe. Grimsby? Yes, that's me. And you are? I'm the one and only, the actual Sherlock Sholmes. You've heard of me, no doubt. No. Yep, I had somebody gift 5 subs yesterday. It was quite amazing. I was very grateful. I am a great detective among great detectives, one who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you may trust me completely. The man uses that magazine like a business card. A detective? I do not trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. So might I be so bold as to ask you to open that small travelling case? Yes, because it's totally going to be a person in there. Well, don't be stupid. How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that? Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Travelling inside one's trunk? Don't look at me. The fuck? Oh my, did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, the case just shook. Leave, now, otherwise I call Stewart. So this is Kazuma's neighbour, Mr. Grimsby Roylott. There's no doubt about it. The strange Russian man is hiding something. Probably not.
You haven't read the back of it yet.
Ah.
Or the front of it, technically.
I'm afraid I can't read a word of Russian. No, me neither. I have no idea what any of this says. The pair of you floundering is a sorry sight. Allow me to offer some assistance. The article on the front of this page of the newspaper is concerned with some fearsome Russian revolutionary. It reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. Yes, you told us that before. It reveals also that those who see this man's beard with their own eyes never live to tell the tale. Oh my goodness, he is fearsome. Well, presumably the newspaper photographer was alright, wasn't he? The solution is obvious, of course. If he despises his beard to that degree, he need only shave it off. I'm not quite sure that's the problem, Mr. Sholmes. Ew. Hello, pretty person. This is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo-san? Well, no. I mean, it looks like this might be interesting. I can't read a single word, I'm afraid. No, nor can I. But look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? She is very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, don't you? Whoa, hang on a minute. I don't know. I can't make any sense of it. Ah, I'm glad you've noticed this article. Ah! Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Oh, thank you. He pops up everywhere, this Mr. Sholmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. Fancy some Pavlova?
It's named after a famous ballerina, Anna Pavlova, technically.
Probably. Reference, John?
No, it's just Anna Pavlova.
Just Anna Pavlova, yes. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? It would appear that woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room, wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles. 20,000 rubles. How much is a ruble these days?
No matter how much it's worth in Norway.
How much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm quite sure it must be an unbelievable sum of money. Josen's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. The tiara is the property of the Novovich Ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yes, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to receive both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They've requested international assistance at all ports with sailing to Great Britain. Could this be another case of Russians fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do these days. I'm not going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes. I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns. A pound is like 42 rubles, but I don't know about now. It's probably gone up a bit. Let me find out quickly. 1 pound to Russian ruble. That's roughly 100 to 1. It's 101.91 Russian rubles to a pound. So basically divided by 100. So 20,000 rubles is worth 200 pounds, but 200 pounds back in the 1800s. Let's just say 1900 worth today. So, £100 back in 1900 at most would be worth now £12,500. So that's roughly 126 times it. So, So what's 126 times 200? 24 grand, 25 grand. Let's say 25 grand is worth the tiara there. So not bad. Not bad at all. Mr. Roylott, we'd like to talk to you about something. No. Oh? I do not want to talk. Leave my cabin now. This is going terribly. We're not getting anywhere here. I agree, but there may be someone else who can help. Perhaps that great detective could get somewhere with Mr. Roylott. Same again. Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes? You need only address me as Sholmes. That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there? You called him Mr. You don't need to call him Mr., just call him Sholmes. Why, I was resting, of course. Resting? Indeed. I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting. Waiting for the inevitable time. That you would need to call my great powers of detection into service. Oh! And it would seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken? Well, no, actually, you're spot on. For once. Observe closely. Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Roylott, is clearly trying to hide something. And you know what is the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? Why? The truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for the Russians. Right. Can you imagine how the Russian will react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it? Oh yes, please.
Prepare for facepalm.
Well then, what you're about to see may well astound you. For I'm about to apply my great detective skills, greatly admired great deduction to this case. Could this man be a more hackneyed? Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you? What? From time to time, it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness? I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you, or anyone. That's right, and Mr. Sholmes? I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on first meeting, but I once read, it is a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment. Shh! I must have complete silence. What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now. There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I have reached two incontrovertible conclusions. What? What do you mean? Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you are about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? Huh. And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn, says the woman who was sure you hadn't meant it. Yep. You are, at this very moment, no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Does it not? Ah! Oh no, I never imagined I would witness Mr. Sholmes' great deductions with my own eyes. That was a great deduction?
Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person.
What? What ineffable twaddle? Very British.
Oh yes, I've read about it countless times in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Sholmes.
Thank you.
And now I've experienced the astonishing impact of his great deduction firsthand. It's like a dream come true.
I can hardly believe it, but all the colour has drained from Mr. Roylott's face. It looks like somehow both of Mr. Sholmes' conclusions were right. Meow. Meow. How could you?
How could I possibly know such things, you wish to say? Very well then, I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So do I cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together.
Meow. The Great Deduction. The game is afoot. Topic 1. Old Man's Identity. Conclusion. So the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches the eye in the first place is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You are on the verge of using your shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. Now, moving on. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular the fascinating front-page article, which it would appear you have read also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, "Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai." As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Having noted the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, villain Bolshevik. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand. Wrongdoing. Now, as for my second conclusion. You are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime? Over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their ears stray, you see. Propensity. And I assure you, the eye speaks so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. Furtive, okay. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that travelling case. It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse. What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps? One slight enough to fit therein? Don't be absurd! And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the travelling case? Dear me. We are not well suited for a life of crime, are we? Your careless coup d'oeil? Is it coup d'oeil?
Your careless coup d'oeil betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. It's a pat! Raleigh. Yes, the reason you refused to open your travelling case can equally be found in the pages of this newspaper. For there is another, most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. The crime is that of abduction. And according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. Ding! Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this Russian enigma, Elemensky. Uh-oh. So that wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it? Well, the stories are full of Mr. Sholmes' brilliant deductions, you know. But that did seem a little different somehow. Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes, could you come over here for a moment? Pray, what can I do for you? It's about your deductions. Would you mind? Not at all. Go on. Well, to start with, there's the newspaper article. I think we had the same discussion before, but these two men look nothing like each other. Ah, yes, I recall that discussion earlier, and at the time I believe I told you that the man is a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance. In fairness to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Rowlett does look a lot more like this man than you do. That's not the point. And another thing, the part about him abducting the ballerina. Indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate a young woman. Not just at first glance, it is too small, clearly! You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old into that case, even if you push really hard. I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she? You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15. No, I didn't know. How could I? Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her would be poking out from the suitcase. Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain litheness in their bodies. Vinegar? For such a sour bunch, it would surely be simplicity itself to consort oneself into the confines of that small case. Oh dear. You might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Sholmes. This whole thing is turning into a circus. Mr. Naruhodo, something's occurred to me about Mr. Sholmes' deductions just now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of the matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic to seem a little off. Your idea of a little may be a little off itself, Miss Suzato. It's just one or two key words in his deductions that seem to let him down. So I was wondering if we might perhaps tactfully switch them for alternatives. What do you think? Switch some key words in his deductions? Yes, but very tactfully. I feel sure we could do that. We'd unlock the true genius of Mr. Sholmes' great deduction. Precisely the thought that was going through my own mind. This man's a lot of work. At times, I wonder how anyone puts up with me. It's not that funny, buddy. Ah, and you, my good fellow. Sorry. Take a moment to look at your wrists. My wrists? Ah, where were your handcuffs? Huh? How did... I felt that they may hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction. I don't believe it. Mr. Sholmes, you are a marvel. And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrists when we are finished. I'm not worried. In fact, I'd rather stay like this. So, let us begin. Sherlock Holmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular.
Yes, spectacular.
Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Holmes. So the deepest looking Russian, Mr. Roylott. Obviously, what catches the eye in the first place? Is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. I'm not sure. Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beard? I doubt that's something I'll ever have to worry about. It doesn't quite sit right with me, though. Doesn't seem to be sitting with Mr. Roylott either. Which means that the deduction is wrong. I think we should start by taking a long, hard look at Mr. Roylott. I wonder if it's really his beard that he intended to use those shears on. Exactly. If we do manage to find something that fits the sense of Mr. Sholmes' deduction better, then what? Then I'll leave the rest in your capable hands, Nanahoda-san. Why am I the one to do something about this? Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything we could use to prevent last sentence. What exactly was Mr. Roylott really going to use those enormous shears for? What's this? It looks like a cascade of stunning golden locks. No, the color's not the point. The point is, what's it doing on the back of Mr. Roylott's head? And how is it growing from underneath his thick black hair? Well, yes, that's true. So it's stunningly beautiful and stunningly surprising. Something's definitely not right here. Is it in fact not a dude?
You present it rather than pressing it, basically.
Yes!
The examiner.
You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the golden locks you sport. Indeed, you have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose. Such lush golden hair certainly does not befit an old man. You're not a man at all. You're a woman, and judging from the length and sheen of your hair, one still very much in her youth. Oh no. If only I'd managed to cut off my hair, no one would have suspected. The question then begged is this: why do you desire to rid yourself of these magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. Well, that was a shock. I had no idea that old man was really a young woman in disguise, did you? What? Are you staring at me like that? Yes, it was a surprise, Naruto-san. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Sorry. You look like you're in the elements as you dance around the room, deducing facts with Mr. Sholmes. I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. This is strictly business, not strictly Yes, I understand. Say no more. Well, anyway, let's focus on the next part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction, shall we? Taylor's shears, yes. The evidence that he picked out doesn't fit the facts at all now. No, that's true, given that Mr. Roylott is actually a woman. Exactly. He, or rather, she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary. I suppose it's because the deduction has taken a whole different direction now. Yes. Let's switch the evidence for something else. Something that fits the facts as we understand them. For some reason, this woman needs idiots to try and hide her true identity. I feel as though I've either read or heard about a young woman in this situation that recently. I wonder who. Alright, I'll do my best. That one.
Yes!
Article about the ballerina. The evidence that reveals your true identity is, of course, the article about the ballerina. That's right. You've hit the nail on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. It would appear we are finally able to address you by your true name. Yes, because your true identity is that of Novovich Ballet's prima ballerina. Miss Nikolina Pavlova.
I want to know where the earrings came from, but...
You're right. My real name is Nina. I mean, Nikolina Pavlova. But please, I beg you, don't tell anyone. Ding.
I guess she's trying to flee with the tiara. Now, as for my second conclusion. I know, right? I was thinking that. So big buff coat suddenly shrunk down. Now, as for my second conclusion. You are at this very moment on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime? Over there. Ah yes, Miss Pavlova. Taken unawares, people have the propensity to let their eyes astray, you see. And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, the travelling case. This woman is the ballerina, and she's right in front of our eyes, so clearly she can't be inside that travelling case as well. No, that's right. It seems she wasn't abducted at all. In which case, what is the crime this woman is apparently committing? An illegal pet! Ah, I can see I'm going to have to step in and infect the good minister. You seem to look pleased. Do you like the idea of another chance to dance around with Mr. Sholmes? Stop it! Anyway, there must be something else here that shows what this woman is up to. Wow, look at this dazzling tiara. I've never seen anything like it. Are those real diamonds, do you think? Oh, Naruhodo-san, try it on. What? Me? Isn't usually girls who wear tiaras? Wouldn't you like to try it on? Oh no, I couldn't possibly. It's far too beautiful. Why does this tiara look familiar? Oh, come on. Try pressing R, but nothing happened.
Yes!
That tiara. The proof of your crime is surely this tiara. Yeah. I believe this tiara is worn on stage by dancers in the Novovich Ballet, is it not? No? Indeed, it would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured in the newspaper article. And if reporting is to be believed, this is an item worth 20,000 rubles. In summary, the crime you have committed is theft. Hang on a minute. 20,000. 20 million. Oh shit. Let me try that again. £200. Yeah, 25 grand. Yeah. The crime you've committed is theft. Larceny. In the first degree. Oh no. Yes, you have left your ballet troupe, unlawfully taking their precious tiara with you. Ah. I have no one, no family, no friends. I am all alone, and I need money. But I did not steal Tiara. It was a present from, how do you say, an Earl of Prussia? It belongs to me. This girl is only 15 years old, and she's run away all by herself. She must have been extremely lonely. Alright, I'll tell you everything. There is no point to hiding it now. Come, let's not be hasty. What? There remains one unsolved mystery about you. Mystery? What do you mean? You have staunchly refused to open this travelling case of yours in our presence. It is reasonable to conclude, therefore, that there exists some reason why you wish it to remain closed. Is that not so, Miss Pavlova? My dear girl, there is no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, I have a good idea of the very contents of your case, even before I ever laid eyes on them. Dear me. We are not well suited for a life of crime, are we? Your careless Dubois betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the books on the shelf. He's completely changed tack about his deduction now. I think Mr. Sherms is adapting his logic to the changing circumstances, don't you? Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf into all this? Just a wild guess, surely. Oh, do you think so? Well, it doesn't seem likely that the reason why this young woman doesn't want to open her case would have been written in a book that doesn't even belong to her. Yes, that's true, but still. Miss Pavlova certainly did cast her eyes in that direction. I noticed it myself. Then there has to be another reason why she won't open her case, and it must be somewhere in the same area, if that's where her gaze was involuntarily drawn. I guess that's the only answer. Whatever she has hidden inside that case should be revealed by following her gaze in the direction of the bookcase.
I hate you.
These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Burya. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. There is exactly the same notice in our cabin too. I wonder what happens if you break the rules. Oh dear, I'm sure the punishment would be severe, Narukoto-san. You'll probably be left adrift in the freezing cold ocean, or shut inside a tiny wardrobe for days on end. So I've actually been serving time for weeks now, have I? There we go.
Yes!
Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case, written in the rules of passage. What does that say? Bill Maley, is it? Bill Malley? I think reverse N is the L, is it? Or am I thinking of something else? Inside that case of yours is something forbidden from carriage on this vessel. That is the real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents. Vinimani, or something similar. Yes, Vinimani. Warning. As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or other dangerous item would move of its own accord. Which leaves but one possibility, Miss Pavlova. Inside your travelling suitcase is the last item listed on this forbidden. Is the last item listed as forbidden in the vessel's rules of passage? A pet. Elementary. So clearly you aren't who you said you were. No, I am not Grimesbury Wylot. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you said was correct. You absconded during one of your ballet performances in order to escape your homeland. Later that same night, you stole a motor vessel. Which couldn't have been easy. The Barrier has a huge steamship with a vast crew. So much posing, I know, right? Could you really have snuck on board without being noticed? In order to obscure your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman. And you intended to sever all links with your past by severing your long hair. Yet to a woman, hair is no trifling matter. A personal recommendation is to leave well alone. So, if it was just you about to cut your own hair, who was it that let out the scream we heard from outside the cabin? That veritable tinkling of a bell? Why, none other than this young lady, naturally. More like a full set of pipes, if you ask me. I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai. I was sure they would come looking for me. That's why I decided to, how do you say, disgust myself? So no one would recognize me. Ah, it's cute. Everything you said was correct. Eventually. As a result, you transformed yourself into that questionable old man, I see. I put on fur hat and fake beard. Then, just before you came in here, I saw in the newspaper, right on the page, there was a picture of me. I was so frightened, I couldn't stop from screaming. I knew that if I didn't change my appearances completely, they would find me. So I decided to cut all my hair as fastly as possible. I picked up the scissors in my hand and... At the precise moment we walked in through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door. Things happen like that sometimes, don't they? Things do indeed happen like that from time to time. Are those two even talking about the same thing? Morons. There's just one more thing I'd like to know. What exactly do you have inside your traveling case? You are right. It is my dear friend inside. My only friend in the whole world. Please, don't tell anyone. If Captain finds out, if you say to any of the crew... Your secret is safe with us, I assure you. But in return... You must tell us, in as much detail as you can muster, about the events of last night. Yes, alright. I will tell you. Well, Mr. Naruhodo? Wasn't it something, Mr. Shelm's great deduction? It was certainly something, yes. I'm just not entirely sure what. But at least Miss Pavlova has agreed to tell us what she knows. That's incredible. Indeed, it is incredible. Ah, and one more thing. Oh, yes, what? Observe your wrists. My... Your hands are cuffed again? What? But how? True to my word, I have restored your shackles. Grr. When and why? I'm sorry to say, it can't be helped at the moment. Can't it? Really? Anyway, let's listen to what Miss Pavlova has to say. I can't go on not knowing. I have to find out what the speckled bandit Kazuma-sama wrote about his diary really was. Let's converse with her for a bit. Did you know that someone was killed in the cabin next door to this one last night? One of the crewmen told me this morning when I was eating breakfast. The man who died, he was a friend of mine. Oh. That's why we were trying to find out what happened. Did you notice anything unusual last night? Perhaps you heard a strange noise, for example. Perhaps people talking. Perhaps the ship was absorbed in a wild tempest. Perhaps its steam engine exploded. Perhaps everyone on board would have noticed if that had happened. Miss Pavlova, is there anything you can tell us? I don't know. I'm sorry, but all I could think about last night was what I had done and whether they would find me. I didn't notice anything that was happening around me. Oh, I see. You've run away from your ballet company, haven't you? The Novovich Ballet? Yes. I am traveling to Great Britain, and from there I want to go to America. I will never dance again. I want to forget everything about the ballet. I will start a new life. You wish to forget? A challenging proposition. When you have that striking tiara as a reminder. But the tiara is mine. I need it to live. I have no money of my own. The Novovich Ballet gives us only a little food and water, and we must dance all over the world. I had to run away. I had no choice. If I stayed, it would have killed me. So you ran away to protect yourself? Yes, and the crew of the ship, they have all been very kind to me. They let me come on board, and they said I could hide in this cabin. If that is indeed the truth, Miss Pavlova, it creates a most intriguing conundrum. Yes, it does. What do you think about it, Mr. Naruhodo? Me? Oh, well, yes, of course. I think we should hear Miss Pavlova's explanation. To what conundrum, I'm not sure, but... Miss Pavlova, allow me to pose you a riddle. According to this newspaper, it was only yesterday that you absconded from the ballet. Now, that being the case, it must have been last night that you boarded this vessel. However, the SS Burya stopped by no port last night. Ah, that's it, of course. So how is it, pray, that you came to be aboard? Now that I think about it, the crewman outside the cabin acted very strangely when we mentioned that. It was just after we asked him about what the occupants of this cabin came aboard.
That is not your business.
Yes, you're right. He did seem to be hiding something. An angel descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to the stage. Sorry, what was that? It is how the Russian newspapers described one of my performances. And that is how I came here too. I descended from the heavens, because I am an angel. Consider English isn't your mother tongue. Your description is very vivid. Mr. Sholmes once said, I never can resist the touch of the dramatic. It seems Miss Pavlova is the same. A genius descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to detection. Words once said about myself. A quote from a wonderfully extravagant advertisement for the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, in fact. Yes, Mr. Showy. Anyway, it doesn't look like Miss Pavlova is going to tell us what really happened. So the friend you mentioned is inside your travelling case, is that correct? I don't think animals are allowed on board according to the rules of passage. Oh please, don't tell any of the crew. If they found my precious... Then the burly Russians would bestir themselves in unison to throw you and your case overboard, no doubt. So reassuring, Mr. Sholmes. But what sort of pet is your friend? A little puppy? It is, isn't it? Maybe an adorable little rabbit? Ha! You create Russia as a land with small rabbits, do you? Oh, don't they have small rabbits there then? You may well ask. I have no idea. Ha! Okay. You two are miserable bunglers when it comes to understanding the nature of young ballerina's friends. Isn't it obvious? It must be a chicken. Really? Consider the benefits. A rousing wake-up call, daily fresh eggs, and when adversity strikes, it could satisfy the needs of sustenance. So you'd eat your friends. I'll remember that. Nope. Well, it would appear this friend's identity is a closely guarded secret not to be revealed. She obviously doesn't quite trust us yet. There's something I should like to show her, I think. Maybe she might be able to shed some light on it. Can I show you this? I'm actually a university student from the Empire of Japan, you see. That means nothing to me. No, I wouldn't. Mr. Naruhodo, if you're determined to flaunt your Yume badge, at least choose a Japanese person who might recognize it. Mr. Zato, can I show you this? Maybe later. Oh, I could show Inspector Osanaga too. I know, I'm just going through everything. Miss Pavlova, would you look? No. Yeah, let's just go straight for the diary. Speckled band, I see. This is the diary of my friend who passed away. His diary? Yes. Don't you know? Every time you play an Ace Attorney game, you have to flaunt your badge everywhere to everybody. Yes, and he wrote it in last night before he died. Something a little unusual. It reads, 1:23 AM. I can hear a faint whistling sound. And then a few minutes later, 1:35 AM. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grilla. A speckled band? I don't understand. It's strange, isn't it? But the ventilator he mentions joins to this cabin, you see. There. It's up there on the wall. In other words, this cabin and the victims' cabins are connected together. Oh. Miss Pavlova? Has something occurred to you? Does the speckled band the victim mentioned mean something to you? Or the whistling sound, perhaps? No, I don't know anything. Oh. Whistling sound. Pet? Question mark? Knock knock. Excuse me, Mr. Roylott. Yes, what? Wow, she's fast. Captain would like to speak with you. You must come to Captain's quarters at once, please. Alright, I will come now. What? You must leave, now. Oh no, it's fine, don't mind us. Yes, please don't worry yourself, Mr. Roylott. Get out! The passenger said out, or you want me to throw you out? Ugh, looks like we'll have to leave investigating this cabin until later. What a pity. And so we lost our chance. Having still not managed to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin, we were unceremoniously chased out. That is to say, we were quite literally picked up and thrown into the passageway outside. Lol. To be continued. Okay, that's been going for just under 3 hours, so damn. Very interesting. We have a Russian lady on board who runs away from homeland. We have best friend of main protagonist murdered. And now we have no idea what go on. So, I think we shall save it here for now. And I shall have to call it them, I think, because it's getting a little late and I'm getting a little tired. But keep an eye out, for I shall be tuning into the next part. I say tuning in, I'll be broadcasting the next part. I shall be continuing on with the next part of the case. Hopefully we can move straight on to the next part, hopefully, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see what the connection is between young Miss Pavlova and the case at hand. So thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the voices, and hopefully we shall have some more of those in the next time I come round. No idea when I'm going to do it. Just keep an eye out. I shall be putting out shout-outs when I am streaming it, so feel free to follow along. I'm also going to upload these to YouTube, so feel free to look there as well. Renza Lightning on YouTube, and we shall see what happens. So if you do miss one, you'll be able to catch up afterwards when I've uploaded it. So until then, have a good night, everybody, and I shall see you next time. This is Renza Lightning, signing off. Look out for speckled bands, yes.